Welcome back, everybody. You know what time it is. It's Friday, which means it's time for Friday in the Sea House. Episode 5 of the coronavirus season. So glad to have you guys back. Hope everybody had a great spring break. And talking to all of our teachers and counselors, it seems as though everybody is finally back on track with their online learning. I know you guys have been getting a lot of communication about grading policy changes or adjustments. We may talk a little bit more about that later in the show. But for right now, I'm going to jump right into last week's challenge. Our week 3 and week 4 challenge was Find Your Beach. And we wanted to get pictures in and videos in from folks that maybe had a great spring break right from home. We've got 2 winners this week. Our first one, Ashley Gayton, did an unbelievable job of creating her own wellness center in the backyard. For those of you that know the Sea House, you know we've got this great wellness center in school, which is a place to go and to relax or to pray or to meditate or to do some mindfulness. Well, Ashley wanted that place at home where she could listen to music, just sort of chill out, bring the tension down a notch, and enter into some mindfulness exercises that she's learned here at school. And look what she's done. She's created her own backyard studio. So for that, Ashley, you are one of our 2 Week 4 Challenge winners. The other winner this week goes to Bella Kovacs. Now, Bella felt horrible that she and her mom couldn't go on her senior year trip to the beach together. As bad as she felt, I think she felt worse maybe even for mom. So what Bella did was worked in the backyard, talked to some neighbors who had access to sand, dug a nice big hole, outlined it with bricks and stone, and created their very own backyard beach. Talk about finding your own beach. So she was able to give to her mom and her that senior trip she was hoping for to the beach. Didn't have to travel quite so far. They were able to do that right in the backyard. So congratulations, Bella. Congratulations, Ashley, on being our Week 4 Challenge winners. Now let's take a few minutes to see some of the emails that you guys have been sending me over the last couple weeks. As always, I changed the names at the end to protect the innocent. This one says, Mr. Young, I watched the senior video with my son this week, and my family is so excited about graduation. Does the Gwinnett Civic Center require tickets? If so, how many do we get? Signed, Excited Mom. Well, Mom, in years past, the answer to that question has been no. What's new to all of our sister schools this year, as they've always gone to Gwinnett, is that, yeah, in fact, Gwinnett Civic Center does require tickets this year. Something we're used to in the Sea House. We will have 10 tickets for each of our seniors. Each of our graduates will be issued 10 tickets. In terms of getting them, that's all up in the air right now because we're waiting to hear from the governor about when he's going to lift the shelter in place and what parameters will come out when that goes by the wayside. Hopefully that'll happen in May. But we'll have a package that includes caps and gowns and your 10 tickets. If you end up needing more than those 10 tickets, we will have a handful left over that we'll either put in a lottery or we'll try to figure out a way to make sure in an equitable fashion that students have access to that. But hopefully 10 tickets will cover all of your needs. Great question. Dear Mr. Young, I want clarification on this new grading policy. I had 5 A's and 2 C's on my 9-week progress report this March. Does that mean I can stop going to class and just keep these grades? Signed, Jeffrey. Well, Jeffrey, let me just say this to you. Grading and learning are 2 very different things. At Central, we certainly value learning ahead of just grades for the sake of grades. Now, I know in the world of students, grades really are what you care about at this point. But for all of us over a certain age, we know how important lifelong learning is. And our teachers are going to be teaching, and hopefully our students are going to be learning all the way up until May 22nd, which is the last day of school. Now, the technical answer to your question is whatever your grade was at the 3rd 9-week progress report, which was issued in March, that is your final 2nd semester grade unless you've been able to raise it through online learning. We want you to continue on with that till the very end. We know that some of you are going to make that choice, but I'm here to tell you, we want you in class. We want you continuing to learn because next year, whether it's a math class or a science class or you're going off to college, we don't want you to have gaps in your learning. If you were to cut out now and miss 3-4 weeks worth of new information, that's going to set you behind as you start the school year next year. So we think it's really important for all of our students to try to finish the race. All right, great question, Jeffrey. Hello, Mr. Young. I left a bunch of stuff in my locker. When can I come up to school and get it? Well, Melissa, that goes along with that same question about picking up graduation tickets. We're kind of at the mercy of the virus that's out there and at the mercy of our governor. When that shelter in place is lifted, we will have a plan for everybody to come back and clear out their lockers or get into the locker room or the band room or wherever you may have left things behind. But we're not going to release that, obviously, until we get parameters from the governor. Will we have a plan? Absolutely. We'll be able to get you up here at some point and get all the stuff that belongs to you out of your locker. Dear Mr. Young, it was great to hear about prom. There's just one problem. I'm a junior this year. It seems like you're only inviting seniors. Is that true? Well, Jill, don't let your heart be troubled. That was a message to our seniors, yes, of course, telling them that we're still going to have prom, but prom is going to be just like any other prom we've had. It really technically is the junior-senior prom. So if you are currently a junior in the 1920 school year, you'll be able to purchase tickets to prom just as we talked about with the seniors this week. I'm glad you asked that question. That was an area of consternation for a lot of people. I'm glad to be able to clear that up. In terms of selling those tickets and being able to pick those up, information will be coming out about that in the next couple of weeks. So just kind of hang loose on that, but we'll be sharing that with you as well. And the last one, Dear Dad. Oh boy, this ought to be good. First off, stop blinking so much. Also, is there any chance you could stop at your feeble attempts at being funny and maybe have some actual students on your show besides me and your family? Joseph. Thanks for your feedback there, son. Actually, you stumble upon a pretty good idea. We are going to try to bring in some of our students through all the technology that we've got, be it Google Meet or Microsoft Teams or whatever we can make work. But we want to start a new segment on this show called Senior Moments, where we bring in some of our C House seniors, or maybe some of you out there who are just seniors. And we want to hear about your memories from your high school years. So, for our very first Senior Moment segment, who better to bring in than our senior class officers? Starting with our president, why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hello, I'm Wendy Hahn, and as Mr. Young just said, I am senior class president.
Unfortunately, through the technical difficulties, we're not seeing Wendy, but Wendy, stay with us. We'll keep talking to you.
All right, I'm Michael Muth, and I'm a senior class vice president.
I'm Maddie Richardson, and I'm your senior class secretary.
And I'm Yasmin Sever, and I'm your senior class treasurer.
What has been maybe the biggest challenge you've had to face during this coronavirus time?
Honestly, it's been motivated with our current situation is that I can also make the decision whether or not I want to work in the first place. So it's been a little hard trying to motivate myself to get up and do my work and not just play sit floor all day.
So it's kind of like senioritis, but on steroids.
Yeah.
Maddie, what's been your biggest challenge in this time?
I definitely agree with motivation, but for a second there, I got sick and I kind of freaked out. So I think it was overcoming the fear initially. But other than that, I mean, just motivating myself has been super tough because, you don't have the same face-to-face pressure to always be on top of things. But, I mean, aside from that, I really have just enjoyed sleeping in.
Yeah, for sure. Yasmin, any challenges you faced or?
Honestly, I thought this would all be better because I get to sleep in and I get to do my work at my own pace, but not being able to see your friends and your favorite teachers every day has just been challenging. It's probably the hardest part.
Yeah, how about for you, Michael?
Yeah, I think seeing the people I used to see every day and then the change of not being able to see them every day has definitely been a challenge. And like Maddie mentioned, having other people to motivate me is something that pushes me, and not having that has been kind of a challenge.
What have been some of the ways you've tried to stay in touch with your friends? How have you tried to connect?
Well, obviously I've been texting them and all that, but another thing that I've been staying in touch with my friends is we play Xbox a lot. So we're always on playing Xbox together, so that's how for a couple hours a day. We're talking to each other and catching up with each other. Kind of keeps me sane.
Yeah, no doubt. Yasmin?
Me and my friends have been FaceTiming like almost every single night. Whether it's we found like a way to play like a card game online together, so we figured out how to do that, and so we started playing cards together online and just like FaceTiming each other every night. That's just been a good way to stay in touch.
Awesome. Maddie? How have you been able to stay connected?
I know my friends and I have been FaceTiming on and off, but we've also kind of taken to writing letters, which has been really fun. So, I mean, obviously there's a delay there, but it's been really nice receiving that handwritten note. And then we've been kind of starting some shows together so then we can have more to talk about. So that's kind of been what I've been doing outside of school.
Maddie, that is really interesting. Like what prompted the idea for you to start an old-fashioned handwritten letter writing idea? Like, where did that come from?
Well, it was my best friend Julia that started it because me and my other best friend, our birthdays were over spring break, so she had written us letters for that, and it was so touching because she had written out like different memories that we had all through high school, and it was really, really sweet. So I mailed my first letter the other day, and it was really nice.
Wendy, how have you been able to stay connected with friends?
Honestly, mostly through the typical means of, you text them, instant message. But one thing I've been doing with some of my friends is basically just trading, like, any form of media with them. Like, maybe we'll watch something together. Like, I remember I have a friend in Singapore, and I would go and watch, like, episodes of a cartoon together and basically comment on them. My microphone is also broken on my laptop, so we would just, like, send each other text messages as we watch the same episode, that kind of thing.
Here's the million-dollar question. If you had to pick one moment from your 4 years in the Sea House, pick that one moment that you're going to take with you forever.
Ooh, sheesh.
Oh my god.
All right, Michael, tell us what that one moment was that you'll carry
It was,
forever.
my junior year. I think it might have been our last game of the season, the football season. It was when we played Lambert, and it was like a really, really close game the whole time. And it was right at the end where we were winning, and they had a field goal, and everyone's getting so like hyped and stuff. And then they missed the field goal, and we all ran on the field. That was probably my favorite, like one of the most exciting moments.
Maddie, you got a special moment?
I do. It was from this year. I got to participate in homecoming, and I never ever thought that was something I would be able to do. It was really a special moment getting to walk out on the field with my dad, and just, I think sharing that moment with him was probably one of my favorite memories from school period.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Wendy?
I would probably say my favorite moment was, it's sophomore year, I went on the TSA field trip with Madison and some other people in there, and it was just generally really fun going on the trip with them, like, watching them do their competitions, watching you go up onto the podium because you won first place, so that's trading conversations when we were staying up way too late in the hotel room, that kind of thing.
That was awesome.
Good times. And Yasmin, do you have a special moment that stands out?
It was this year, end of October. It was our last marching band competition at South, and it was raining all day. Like, we didn't think we were gonna be able to perform because they kept pushing back our performance time, and we were standing in the lot, like, doing our little ritual before we go onto the field, and I was looking at like my section and like my friends in my section, and I was giving like my last like senior like speech before we did like our little chant, and I look out and literally like all my friends are like crying, like all of my junior and sophomore and freshman friends were crying because they were like, don't leave me, and then we went onto the field, we performed. It was like the best performance ever, and my parents were at that competition, and they don't usually do that. So it was that was the best moment ever of high school.
Wow, good stuff. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. Having these seniors with us, our senior officers, has been a real treat today. It actually makes me miss you guys even more than I've been missing you. So I'm not sure that's been good for me, but it sure has been nice to talk to you. Cannot wait to see you guys when it's time to pick up your caps and gowns and tickets. We'll let you know as soon as we can when that's going to be. But at the very least, I can't wait to see you at prom on July 25th. Take care, y'all. We love you. Well, that wraps up today's episode of Fridays in the Sea House. We do leave you with that challenge brought to you by Maddie Richardson, which is take out some paper, take out a pen, and write an actual letter and send it in the old-fashioned U.S. mail to a friend or a relative or someone you love and see what you get back. And as she said, it really is uplifting when you get a letter in the mail. Now, it's another beautiful week. We've made it through the first wave of this whole coronavirus. We're still standing. We're still racing. We've got a lot to celebrate this weekend. But let's do it without the drugs and alcohol. Let's call or text when we get where we're going. Shelter in place. Probably don't need to tell you that one. And remember, nothing good happens after midnight. We love you guys, and we'll see you back here next week. Go Dogs. Arr!